Chapter 1. The Enigmatic Invitation. Hercule Poirot sat in his impeccably ordered London flat, the morning light filtering through the lace curtains like a gentle interrogation. It was a crisp autumn day in 1928, and Poirot, the renowned Belgian detective, had just finished his breakfast, a perfectly poached egg, toast cut into precise soldiers, and a cup of rich chocolate that warmed his soul. He adjusted his moustache with a satisfied twirl, the waxed tips pointing heavenward as if in perpetual salute to order and symmetry. His valet, George, entered with the silver tray of Morning Post. "The mail, sir," he announced in his unflappable tone. Poirot waved a manicured hand. "Place it here, mon ami. Let us see what the world has for Hercule Poirot today." Among the bills and polite invitations lay an envelope that immediately caught his eye. It was heavy cream paper, sealed with crimson wax, bearing the imprint of an intricate amber stone, carved, it seemed, into the shape of a pendant. The address was handwritten in elegant script: Monsieur Hercule Poirot, Whitehaven Mansions, London. Poirot's green eyes sparkled with curiosity. He slit the envelope with his letter opener, revealing a card inside. "You are cordially invited to a weekend soirée at Amberley Manor, Hampshire. The occasion, the unveiling of the legendary amber pendant of the Harrington family. Your presence is requested for an evening of intrigue, fine cuisine, and perhaps a touch of mystery. Host, Lord Reginald Harrington. Date, Friday, the 12th of October. RSVP essential, discretion assured." Poirot leaned back in his armchair, stroking his moustache thoughtfully. "Ah, the amber pendant. I have heard whispers of this jewel. A relic from the Baltic shores, encasing a fossilized insect said to be over 40 million years old. But more than that, cursed, they say, by an ancient Prussian duke who lost his fortune and his love over it." George raised an eyebrow. "Cursed, sir? Sounds like one of those tall tales." Poirot chuckled. "Tall tales, George? No. History is littered with such objects that bring misfortune. Remember the Hope Diamond? Or the Black Orloff? This pendant, it is said to have passed through the hands of royalty, thieves, and lovers doomed to tragedy. And now Lord Harrington invites me to its unveiling. Why, I wonder." He rose and paced the room, his patent leather shoes clicking on the polished floor. Lord Reginald Harrington was a name Poirot knew well, a wealthy industrialist who had made his fortune in shipping during the Great War. The Harringtons traced their lineage back to Norman conquerors, but recent scandals had tarnished their gleam. A bankrupt cousin, a scandalous divorce, whispers of smuggling antiquities. Poirot stopped at the window, gazing out at the bustling street below. It is intriguing, this invitation. Not a plea for help, not yet, but an evening of intrigue. They anticipate something, perhaps, or someone wishes to test the little grey cells of Hercule Poirot. That afternoon, Poirot decided to accept. He dictated a reply to George. "Monsieur Poirot accepts with pleasure. He looks forward to the delights of Amberley Manor." As the letter was posted, Poirot delved into his library, pulling out dusty tomes on gemology and family histories. The amber pendant, he read, had been acquired by the Harringtons in 1840 from a Russian émigré fleeing the Tsar's wrath. It was a teardrop-shaped piece of golden amber, 2 inches long, with a perfectly preserved spider trapped within, symbol of fate's web, some said. Legends claimed it granted visions to its wearer, but drove them mad with jealousy. "Superstition," Poirot murmured, "but superstition often masks truth." The week passed in a blur of routine cases, a forged will here, a petty theft there, but Poirot's mind wandered to Hampshire. On the eve of departure, His friend Captain Hastings burst in, red-faced from a game of golf. "I say, Poirot, what's this I hear about a weekend jaunt? Amberley Manor, jolly good show." Poirot smiled indulgently. Arthur Hastings, his loyal companion, was ever eager for adventure. "Oui, mon ami, you shall accompany me. We depart tomorrow by train. Pack your +4s. There may be croquet." Hastings beamed. "Croquet and curses? Sounds ripping." The next morning they boarded the express from Waterloo Station. Poirot, in his fur-collared overcoat and Homburg hat, cut a dapper figure amid the steam and bustle. Hastings chattered about the pendant's value, estimated at £50,000, a king's ransom. As the train chugged through the English countryside, golden leaves swirling in the wind, Poirot gazed out the window. "Tell me, Hastings, what do you know of Lord Harrington?" Hastings scratched his head. "Old money, new title. Made a packet in arms shipping during the war. Bit of a roué, they say. Likes the ladies, the horses, and high-stakes poker. Married to a much younger woman, Lady Eleanor. She's the real beauty of the family, former actress or some such." Poirot nodded, and the guests. The invitation hints at a select gathering. Probably the usual suspects. Cousins eyeing the inheritance, a shady antiquities dealer, perhaps a spiritualist medium. Everyone loves a good séance these days. The train pulled into the quaint station at Basingstoke, where a sleek Rolls-Royce awaited, emblazoned with the Harrington crest. The chauffeur, a stern-faced man named Wilkins, tipped his cap. "Mr. Poirot, Captain Hastings, welcome. Lord Harrington sends his regards." As they motored through winding lanes flanked by hedgerows and ancient oaks, Amberley Manor loomed on the horizon, a sprawling Elizabethan pile of red brick and ivy, with turrets piercing the sky like accusatory fingers. Smoke curled from multiple chimneys, and peacocks strutted on the manicured lawns. "Impressive," Hastings whistled. "Must cost a fortune to heat." Poirot's eyes narrowed. "Fortunes, Hastings, are made and lost, and jewels like the amber pendant can tip the balance." They were greeted at the grand entrance by a butler, Meadows, whose face was as starched as his collar. "This way, gentlemen. Tea is served in the drawing-room." Inside, the manor exuded opulence. Tapestries depicting medieval hunts, suits of armour gleaming in alcoves, and crystal chandeliers that tinkled softly. The air smelled of beeswax and roses. In the drawing-room, a fire crackled in the marble hearth. Lord Harrington rose to greet them, a tall man in his 50s, with a florid face, twinkling blue eyes, and a moustache rivaling Poirot's own. "Monsieur Poirot, a pleasure, and Captain Hastings, delighted." He pumped their hands vigorously. "You've heard of our little treasure, eh? The amber pendant. Been in the family for generations. Thought it'd be fun to show it off. Get some experts' opinions." Poirot bowed slightly. "Enchanted, Lord Harrington, but why invite Hercule Poirot? I am no gemologist." Harrington laughed heartily. "Ha! Modesty from the great detective. Come now, rumours say the pendant's cursed. Wanted someone with your insight in case of mischief." Before Poirot could probe further, Lady Eleanor entered. A vision in emerald silk, her auburn hair piled high, diamonds flashing at her throat. "Darlings, welcome to our humble abode." She air-kissed Hastings, who blushed furiously, then turned to Poirot. "Monsieur, your reputation precedes you. Do say you'll solve any riddles the pendant throws our way." Poirot kissed her hand gallantly. "Madame, for such beauty, I would unravel the Gordian knot itself." More guests trickled in. Miss Penelope Harrington, the Lord's niece, a sharp-tongued spinster with a penchant for archaeology, Dr. Felix Hawthorne, a pompous historian specializing in Baltic artifacts, Madame Zara, a mysterious medium with kohl-rimmed eyes and a turban adorned with feathers, and Mr. Victor Slade, a slick art dealer from London whose smile didn't reach his eyes. As tea was poured, Darjeeling with lemon scones, conversation flowed. Miss Harrington leaned toward Poirot. "Uncle's mad to display the pendant. It's brought nothing but bad luck. My great-grandfather lost his ships after acquiring it." Dr. Hawthorne snorted. "Nonsense! It's a scientific marvel. That spider inside dates to the Eocene epoch." Madame Zara closed her eyes dramatically. "I sense spirits, betrayal, a woman scorned." Slade sipped his tea. "Value-wise, it's priceless, but insured? Lord Harrington, you must be cautious." Harrington waved a hand. "Pish-posh. Armed guards, safes, nothing to worry about. Tonight we dine, then the unveiling in the Great Hall." Poirot observed silently, his mind cataloguing faces, gestures, tones. Hastings whispered, "Jolly crowd, eh? That Slade fellow looks shifty." "Oui," Poirot murmured. "And the medium? Her turban hides more than feathers, perhaps." As the afternoon waned, Poirot and Hastings were shown to their rooms, adjoining suites overlooking the Rose, garden. Poirot unpacked methodically, placing his tisane herbs and a small revolver in the bedside drawer. "One never knows, Hastings." Dinner was announced with a gong that echoed through the halls. The great dining room glittered under candlelight, silver épergnes overflowing with fruit, Wedgwood china, and a table groaning under roast pheasant, truffled potatoes, and vintage Bordeaux. Toasts were raised to the pendant. Lord Harrington stood. "To old treasures and new friends, may the amber glow brightly and safely." Poirot raised his glass, but his eyes scanned the room. A footman lingered too long by the window. Lady Eleanor's laugh seemed forced. Slade's fingers drummed impatiently. After dessert, Charlotte Roos with candied violets, the party adjourned to the lounge for brandy and cigars. Harrington clapped Poirot on the back. "Midnight, old chap! The unveiling! Prepare to be amazed!" As the clock struck 11, Poirot slipped away to the library, drawn by a half-open door. Inside, shadows danced from a dying fire. He heard whispers. "Can't let him display it! The curse! Worth a fortune on the black market!" Poirot froze behind a suit of armour. Two figures, Slade and Madame Zara. Before he could eavesdrop further, a hand touched his shoulder. Hastings. "Poirot! There you are! What's afoot?" "Shh!" Poirot hissed, but the whispers ceased. The room was empty. "Imagination, old boy?" Hastings asked. Poirot's eyes gleamed. "No, Hastings, the game, it begins. The enigmatic invitation was but the opening move." As midnight approached, the guests assembled in the great hall. A velvet-draped pedestal stood centre stage, guarded by two burly footmen. Harrington, beaming, pulled the cord. The drape fell, revealing the amber pendant under glass. A golden teardrop, glowing ethereally, the ancient spider suspended in eternal struggle. Gasps echoed. Flashbulbs popped from a photographer's camera. Poirot stepped closer, peering intently. "Magnifique," he breathed. But then, a flicker. Was it the light, or did the spider move? No, impossible. Yet, as applause thundered, Poirot felt a chill. The invitation had promised intrigue, and Hercule Poirot sensed that the real mystery was only just unveiling itself. Little did they know, by dawn the pendant would vanish, and blood would stain the manor's ancient stones. Chapter 2. Arrival at Amberley Manor. The Rolls-Royce purred along the gravel drive like a contented cat. crunching to a halt before Amberley Manor's imposing oak doors. Hercule Poirot stepped out first, inhaling the crisp Hampshire air laced with wood smoke and damp earth. The manor loomed above him, a Tudor masterpiece of twisted chimneys and mullioned windows that caught the late afternoon sun like 1,000 winking eyes. Ivy clung to the brickwork as tenaciously as secrets to a guilty conscience. Captain Hastings followed, lugging their valises with boyish enthusiasm. "By Jove, Poirot, it's like stepping into one of those Gothic novels, the Castle of Otranto and all that. Hope there's no headless monk roaming the corridors." Poirot adjusted his bowler hat and smoothed his overcoat. "No, Hastings. The ghosts here are of the living variety. Greed, envy, perhaps murder. Observe the peacocks." He gestured to the lawn where the birds screeched, their iridescent tails fanned in arrogant display. "They strut, they scream, they reveal nothing, much like our hosts." The great doors swung open before they knocked. Meadows, the butler, stood ramrod straight, his silver hair parted with military precision. "Gentlemen, Lord Harrington awaits in the crimson drawing-room. Wilkins will see to your bags." As they crossed the threshold, Poirot's keen eyes catalogued details. The flagstone floor, worn smooth by centuries of aristocratic feet. A suit of armour, missing a gauntlet, stolen or misplaced. The faint scent of lavender masking something sharper, like fear. The entrance hall soared 2 stories, dominated by a staircase that curved like a question mark. Portraits of Harrington ancestors glared down. Admirals with telescopes, ladies with lapdogs, a dissolute rake from the Restoration, whose eyes followed Poirot with unsettling intensity. "Creepy lot," Hastings muttered. "That fellow there looks like he'd sell his grandmother for a shilling." "Perhaps he did," Poirot replied softly. "Family trees, mon ami, often bear poisoned fruit." Meadows led them through a corridor lined with tapestries depicting the Battle of Agincourt. Arrows frozen mid-flight, horses rearing in eternal agony. "The family's pride," the butler intoned. "Lord Harrington's great-great-grandfather fought there, lost an eye but gained a barony." Poirot nodded. "And the amber pendant, when did it join this illustrious company?" Meadows hesitated, a flicker crossing his impassive face. 1840, sir, from a Baltic countess fleeing revolution. Some say she cursed it before parting with it." They entered the crimson drawing-room, a cocoon of velvet and mahogany. Crimson silk wallpaper absorbed the light, making the space feel intimate, almost conspiratorial. A fire roared in the Adam fireplace, casting shadows that danced like guilty secrets. Lord Harrington rose from a wing-back chair, pipe clenched between teeth. "Poirot! Hastings! Splendid! You've beaten the rain!" He clapped Poirot on the shoulder with a sailor's heartiness. "Come, meet the coven before the storm breaks." Lady Eleanor lounged on a chaise, a cigarette in a jade holder trailing smoke like a serpent's tongue. She wore a tea-gown of peach chiffon that clung to her curves, diamonds winking at her ears. "Monsieur Poirot, you're even smaller in person, but they say dynamite comes in small packages." Her laugh was throaty, practiced. Poirot bowed over her hand. "Madame, your beauty would make dynamite blush." Hastings, flushing to his roots, stammered a greeting. Lady Eleanor's eyes appraised him like a horse at Tattersall's. "Captain Hastings, war hero, I hear. Do you ride?" "Like the wind, Lady Eleanor. Fox hunting's my bag." "Excellent. We'll have a gallop tomorrow, if the Pendant doesn't gallop off first." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. The other guests were already assembled, a tableau of forced conviviality. Miss Penelope Harrington, the niece, perched on a settee like a vigilant crow. At 40, she was all angles, sharp nose, sharper tongue, dressed in sensible tweed despite the warmth. Uncle's folly, inviting strangers to gawk at the family curse. That pendant's brought nothing but ruin. Dr. Felix Hawthorne, the historian, puffed out his chest like a pouter pigeon. Portly, bearded, and bespectacled, he clutched a leather-bound notebook. Ruin? Poppycock! It's a paleontological treasure. The spider, Araneus baltica, perfectly preserved. I've written a monograph. Madame Zara swept in dramatically, her turban askew, bangles clinking like chains. Spirits whisper of betrayal. The amber traps more than insects. It holds a woman's scream. Her accent was vague, Eastern European, music hall, and her kohl-rimmed eyes fixed on Poirot with unnerving intensity. Mr. Victor Slade leaned against the mantel, a whisky in hand. Slick as pomade, with a pencil moustache and a diamond pinky ring, he exuded the faint desperation of a man one deal from disaster. Values in the eye of the beholder, hey? Insured for 50 grand, but on the continent, double, triple, if you know the right fences. Lord Harrington boomed with laughter. Fences. We're not selling, Slade. Displaying. Like the crown jewels. Tea arrived on a silver trolley. Earl Grey, scones with clotted cream, finger sandwiches of cucumber and salmon. Poirot sipped delicately, observing the undercurrents. Miss Penelope cornered Dr. Hawthorne. You'd pry it from its setting for your dusty museum. Nonsense! Science demands, Madame Zara interrupted, laying cards on a side table. The tarot speaks, the tower, catastrophe, the lover's betrayal. Slade smirked. Betrayal! In this family, perish the thought. Lady Eleanor's laugh tinkled. Darling Zara, you see doom in tea leaves? Remember last year's séance? You predicted Uncle's bankruptcy, and he doubled his fortune. Spirits are capricious, Zara murmured, but her eyes darted to Slade. Poirot interjected smoothly. Madame, perhaps you could read my fortune later, but first, tell me of the pendant's curse. Specifics, s'il vous plaît. Zara leaned forward, voice dropping to a whisper. The Prussian duke who owned it first, Duke Friedrich von Amber, loved a countess promised to another, gifted her the pendant. She wore it to a ball, vanished, found drowned, the jewel clutched in her hand. Duke went mad, shot himself. Every owner since, tragedy. Hawthorne snorted. Romantic drivel, the ambers from Königsberg mines. The spider's just a coincidence. Coincidence? Penelope hissed. My grandmother wore it once, died in a fire the next week. Lord Harrington clapped for attention. Enough gloom! Meadows, show our guests to their rooms. Dinner at 8, black tie. Then the unveiling. As they ascended the grand staircase, Poirot lagged behind, examining a display case of miniatures. One caught his eye, a woman in Regency dress, amber pendant at her throat. The plaque read, Lady Amelia Harrington, Dears, 1845, trampled by horses. Curious, Poirot murmured. Their rooms were in the east wing. Poirot's a symphony of blue damask, Hastings adjoining in green. A connecting door stood ajar. Poirot unpacked with ritual precision. Pyjamas folded, toiletries aligned, a small vial of lavender oil for his pillow. Hastings burst in, tie askew. I say, Poirot, this place gives me the willies. Heard a maid gossiping. Servants say the pendant's room is haunted. Footsteps at night, cold spots. Poirot chuckled. Ghosts, Hastings? No, but living feet make footsteps. Tell me, did you notice Slade's ring? Diamond, but flawed. And Madame Zara's turban, pins of Baltic gold. Coincidences? Before Hastings could reply, a scream pierced the air, high, terrified. They rushed into the corridor. Lady Eleanor stood outside a door, hand to mouth. "It's Penelope! She's locked herself in the library, says she saw a ghost." The group converged. Lord Harrington pounded on the door. "Penelope, open up! It's Reggie!" The door creaked open. Penelope's face was ashen. "In the mirror, I saw her. The drowned countess, wearing the pendant. She pointed at me." Madame Zara crossed herself. The veil thins. Poirot pushed past, entering the library. A cavern of leather-bound tomes and dust motes dancing in the fading light. A cheval mirror stood in the corner, its glass speckled with age. He examined it closely. "Ah, see here, a fingerprint, fresh, and the window ajar. Someone played a prank, no?" Penelope shook her head. "No one was here." But Poirot's eyes gleamed. On the floor, a single peacock feather. From the lawn? Carried in on a shoe, perhaps. Dinner gong sounded, diffusing tension. The dining hall was a feast for the senses. Crystal goblets catching candlelight. A long mahogany table set for 12. Épergne bursting with hothouse flowers. They took seats, Poirot between Lady Eleanor and Dr. Hawthorne, Hastings opposite Miss Penelope. Courses arrived. Consommé madrilène, sole meunière, saddle of lamb with mint sauce. Conversation buzzed. Slade regaled with tales of smuggling antiquities through Suez. The pendant, slip it in a hollowed Bible. Customs never looks. Lord Harrington frowned. We've guards. A Pinkerton man from America. Hawthorne droned about amber formation. Resin from ancient pines trapping insects for millennia. Poirot steered talk to motives. Lord Harrington, why unveil now, after generations in the vault? Harrington hesitated, wineglass pausing mid-air. Debts, old boy. War ate the fortune. Need investors. The pendant's my trump card. Tour it. Charge admission. Like Tutankhamun's treasures. Lady Eleanor's fork clattered. Reggie, you never said darling needs must. Penelope glared. Sell the curse. You'll doom us all. Madame Zara raised her glass. To doom, then. As dessert arrived, baume glacé with spun sugar, tension crackled like the fire. Poirot noticed Slade slip a note to a footman. The man paled, nodded. After dinner, brandy in the smoking room. The men puffed cigars. Poirot abstained, sipping tisane. Hastings cornered Slade. Heard you're in done territory, old chap. Debts at White's? Slade's smile tightened. Gossip, but a windfall, like the pendant, wouldn't hurt. Midnight approached. The party migrated to the great hall, anticipation electric. The pedestal waited, draped in black velvet. Guards flanked it, burly, armed. Lord Harrington mounted a small dais. Friends, behold the Harrington amber pendant. He yanked the cord. The drape fell. Gasps. The pendant glowed, golden, hypnotic, the spider's legs splayed in eternal ambush. But Poirot frowned. Something was off. The chain tarnished? No, too shiny. And the amber, cloudy. Before he could speak, lights flickered. A thud. Darkness swallowed the hall. Screams, crashes. A woman's cry, Lady Eleanor. When lights blazed back, the glass case was shattered. The pedestal empty. The amber pendant was gone. Lord Harrington roared. Lock the doors! No one leaves! Chaos erupted. Accusations flew like daggers. Poirot stood calm amid the storm, his little grey cells whirring. Messieurs, mesdames, the game is afoot, and Hercule Poirot will catch the thief. But as guards sealed the manor, a new horror blood pooled beneath the pedestal. A guard slumped, throat slit. Murder at Amberley Manor. The curse had claimed its first victim. Chapter 3. The Unveiling of the Heirloom. The great hall of Amberley Manor pulsed with anticipation, its vaulted ceiling echoing the murmurs of the assembled guests like a confessional whispering sins. Crystal chandeliers dangled like frozen waterfalls, their prisms scattering light across the polished oak floor. Tapestries of medieval hunts flanked the walls, stags brought down by arrows, hounds baying in eternal pursuit, mirroring the predatory glances exchanged among the party. Hercule Poirot stood slightly apart, his compact figure immaculate in evening dress, a white gardenia in his lapel. He observed the room with the detachment of a chess master surveying the board. Captain Hastings hovered nearby, tugging at his starched collar. "Dash it, Poirot! This unveiling feels like a blooming coronation. All this fuss for a bit of old tree sap." Poirot's eyes twinkled. "Ah, Hastings, you underestimate. Amber is not mere sap. It is time encapsulated, a window to prehistoric worlds. And this pendant, it is a Harrington crown jewel, laced with legend. Observe how they circle it, like moths to a flame." The pedestal dominated the center, draped in midnight blue velvet, embroidered with golden spiders. Two guards, ex-military types with bulging shoulders and holstered Webleys, stood sentinel, their faces grim under the electric lights. Lord Reginald Harrington, resplendent in tails and a crimson cummerbund, bustled about, directing footmen with silver trays of champagne flutes. "Places, everyone!" Harrington boomed, his voice carrying the authority of a quarterdeck. "The moment has arrived. Meadows, dim the house lights." The butler flicked a switch, plunging the hall into a dramatic gloom, spotlights converging on the pedestal like searchlights on a fugitive. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lady Eleanor, in a gown of shimmering gold lame that hugged her like a second skin, clutched Harrington's arm. "Reggie, darling, do be careful. The curse? Pish-posh, my dear. Superstition for the servants." But Poirot noted the bead of sweat on Harrington's brow, the slight tremor in his hand. The guests formed a semicircle. Miss Penelope Harrington, arms crossed tightly over her sensible black lace. Dr. Felix Hawthorne, notebook poised like a weapon. Madame Zara, eyes closed in supposed communion with the beyond. Mr. Victor Slade, swirling his brandy with feigned nonchalance. A photographer from the Tatler fiddled with his flashbulb apparatus, eager for Society Page's glory. Poirot edged closer to Hastings. "Note the positions, mon ami. Slade to the left, close to the French windows, Zara opposite, blocking the main door, and the guards, their eyes scan the crowd, not the jewel." Hastings nodded. "Jolly suspicious, eh? That Slade's got shifty eyes. And Zara, bet she's palming a fake crystal ball." Harrington mounted a small dais, raising a glass. "Ladies and gentlemen, kin and confidants, tonight we unveil the Harrington Amber Pendant, not merely a bauble, but a talisman of our lineage. Acquired in 1840 by my great-grandfather, Sir Edmund, from the beleaguered Countess Irina von Amber during the Russian upheavals. It has graced necks at coronations, whispered secrets in boudoir, and yes, cast shadows of misfortune. But tonight, we defy the dark." Applause pattered. Madame Zara moaned softly. "The spirits stir!" Harrington gripped the velvet cord. "Behold!" With a flourish, he yanked. The drape cascaded to the floor. There it was, under a dome of bulletproof glass, the amber pendant. A teardrop of translucent gold, 3 inches long, suspended on a chain of intricate filigree. At its heart, the fossilized spider, legs akimbo, fangs eternal, trapped in resin 40 million years old. Spotlights ignited its depths, revealing bubbles like trapped stars, veins of honeyed light swirling hypnotically. The room erupted. "Magnificent!" Hawthorne bellowed, pressing forward. "The inclusion! Exquisite! A rare Eocene arachnid!" Lady Eleanor gasped, hand to her décolletage. It's alive! Look how it glows!" Penelope recoiled. "Uncle, cover it! Grandmother's ghost weeps." Slade's eyes narrowed, calculating. "Priceless. Black market in Paris. 100 grand. Easy." Poirot approached, peering through the glass. "Superb. The chain, 18th century Prussian work, yes? And the setting, added later to mask a flaw." He tapped the dome lightly, noting the faint hum of a hidden alarm. Harrington beamed. "Sharp as ever, Poirot. Yes, a hairline crack from the Duke's duel, but insured by Lloyd's, guards round the clock." The photographer snapped photos, flashbulbs popping like gunfire. "Smile, your lordship, for the society columns." Champagne flowed. Guests toasted. Hawthorne lectured on amber's formation. From the pines of ancient Scandinavia, resin dripping over eons, entombing the unwary. Madame Zara swayed, entering a trance. "I see her, the Countess, drowned in the Never, pendant clenched in icy fingers. She curses the thieves of love." Slade chuckled. "Love? More like lust for gold." Tension simmered beneath the revelry. Poirot circulated, ears attuned to whispers. Overheard, Penelope to Eleanor. "He's bankrupt, you know. This circus is to lure investors. Sell the pendant piecemeal." Eleanor's retort, "Better sold than cursed. Remember cousin Alfred fell from his horse wearing it." Hastings sidled up to Poirot. "Blimey, old chap, that guard's eyeing Zara funny, and Slade slipped out for a smoke, came back sweaty." Poirot nodded. "Précisément. And the pedestal, vibrations? No, too steady, but the glass, fingerprints, smeared deliberately." As the clock struck 1, Harrington announced a break. "Refreshments in the salon, then a séance, Zara's promised spirits." The crowd dispersed, but Poirot lingered, examining the pendant. He circled it, noting a faint scratch on the base. New? A wire. No, imagination. Suddenly, a chill draught. The French windows creaked. Poirot whirled, a shadow fleeting across the terrace. "Hastings, pursue!" They dashed out into the moonlit garden. Peacocks scattered, screeching. Footprints in the dew, small, heeled. "Women's shoes!" Hastings panted. Back inside, alarm silent, the pendant secure, for now. In the salon, a Louis XV gem with gilded mirrors and Sèvres porcelain, the party reconvened. A round table set for séance, candles, a Ouija board, Zara at the helm. "Join hands," she intoned. "Invoke the Countess." The room darkened. Wind howled outside, storm brewing. Zara's voice deepened. "Spirit of Arena, speak! What doom for the amber?" The planchette jittered. Letters spelled THIEFAMONGYOU. Gasps. Accusations flew. Slade laughed nervously. "Parlour tricks!" But Penelope paled. "It's true! The curse! Awakens!" Poirot smiled thinly. "Or a living hand guides the board." Candles guttered. A scream, "Eleanor! My necklace! The clasp broken!" Her diamonds scattered like stars. Chaos. Guards rushed in. In the melee, Poirot's eyes locked on Slade. Pocketing something shiny. Harrington bellowed. "Enough! Back to the hall! Secure the pendant!" They stampeded. But in the great hall, horror. The glass dome shattered. The pedestal bare. The amber pendant vanished. And on the floor, a pool of blood spreading like spilled wine. One guard slumped, throat slashed, eyes staring in accusation. "The curse!" Zara wailed. Poirot knelt, examining the wound, clean, professional. A thin blade, perhaps a letter opener. "No, madam, not curse, murder, and theft most audacious." He stood facing the shocked faces. "Lock the manor. No one leaves. Hercule Poirot demands alibis, motives, truths." Lightning cracked outside, illuminating the hall in stark white. Hastings whispered, "Poirot! The spider! Did it escape too?" Poirot's moustache twitched. "Perhaps, mon ami, or perhaps the web ensnares us all. As rain lashed the windows, Poirot's little grey cells ignited. The unveiling had revealed more than a jewel. It had unmasked a killer. The night was young, and death had only begun its dance. But deeper still, in the manor's vaults, a secret history stirred. The pendant's origins held keys to betrayal. A lost love letter hidden within its amber heart, waiting to be cracked open like the fossil itself. Chapter 4. Whispers in the Shadows. The storm raged outside Amberley Manor like a vengeful spirit, rain lashing the leaded windows in furious sheets, thunder rumbling as if the ancient gods themselves disapproved of the night's atrocities. Inside the great hall, the air hung heavy with the metallic tang of blood and the acrid bite of fear. The amber pendant was gone, vanished in a blink amid shattered glass and flickering lights, and one guard lay dead, his lifeblood soaking into the Persian rug like ink into parchment. Hercule Poirot stood at the epicentre of the chaos, his small frame a bastion of calm amid the pandemonium. Guests milled about in shock. Lady Eleanor sobbing into a lace handkerchief. Lord Harrington barking orders at pale-faced footmen. Miss Penelope Harrington muttering prayers under her breath. Dr. Hawthorne paced, muttering scientific rebuttals to curses, while Madame Zara swayed in a corner, chanting incantations in a tongue that sounded suspiciously like staged gibberish. Mr. Victor Slade lit a cigarette with trembling hands, the flame illuminating his sharp features in hellish orange. "Silence!" Poirot commanded, his voice cutting through the din like a scalpel. "Messieurs, mesdames, compose yourselves. Panic is the thief's ally. Captain Hastings, secure the doors. No one enters or leaves this hall until Hercule Poirot says so." Hastings, ever loyal, sprang into action, bolting the massive oak doors with a resounding thud. "Righto, Poirot, like sealing a tomb." Lord Harrington whirled on him, face purpling. "Tomb? My guard is murdered, my heirloom stolen, and you jest." "No, my lord," Poirot replied evenly, kneeling beside the fallen guard. The man's throat bore a single, precise slash, ear to ear, deep enough to sever the carotid. No hesitation, no struggle. This was no jest. Professional, the blade thin, sharp, a stiletto perhaps, or a surgical scalpel. And the theft, timed with the lights, someone knew the wiring. He rose, dusting his knees. "Meadows, fetch lanterns. The storm has cut the power. Convenient, none?" The butler nodded, vanishing into the shadows. Soon oil lamps cast a golden flickering glow, turning faces into masks of suspicion. Poirot addressed the assembly. "We are isolated. Telephones dead. Roads flooded. Until dawn, Amberley Manor is our prison, and our stage. But first, the body." He gestured to the second guard, who stood rigid, revolver drawn. "You, name?" "Jenkins, sir. Pinkerton Agency." "Bon, you saw nothing?" Jenkins shook his head. "Lights out for 10 seconds, sir. Heard glass break, a gurgle, then chaos." Poirot's eyes narrowed. 10 seconds, enough for a ghost or a greased eel. As footmen removed the body under Poirot's supervision, wrapped in a tapestry, carried to the cold pantry, whispers began. The hall, once grand, now felt claustrophobic, shadows lengthening like accusing fingers. Lady Eleanor collapsed onto a settee, her gold gown pooling like molten metal. "It's the curse! The Countess claims her due!" Penelope knelt beside her. "Eleanor, pull yourself together. Uncle's folly brought this, parading the pendant like a sideshow." Harrington poured brandy with a shaky hand. "Folly! It was to save us. Debts piling like snowdrifts. Investors were coming. Slade promised introductions." Slade exhaled smoke. "Promised? I deliver, Reggie, but a stolen gem. Insurance will cover, if no negligence." Hawthorne snorted. "Negligence? The alarm never sounded. Sabotage! Madame Zara's eyes rolled back. Spirits speak! A lover betrayed. Blood for amber. Poirot clapped sharply. Enough theatrics. We retire to the drawing-room. There, under lamplight, truths will emerge. Hastings, escort Madame Zara. She may faint. The group shuffled to the crimson drawing-room. Lamps carried like torches in a medieval procession. The fire had died to embers. A footman stoked it, sparks flying up the chimney like fleeing souls. Poirot arranged them in a circle, chairs dragged into a semblance of a courtroom. Now, alibis, from the moment of unveiling to the lights failing. He started with Harrington. "Milord?" Harrington swigged brandy. On the dais, toasting. "Eleanor beside me. Then darkness. Someone shoved me." Eleanor nodded tearfully, pushed aside, felt a draught. "Windows?" Poirot turned to Penelope. "Mademoiselle? By the tapestry, praying, alone. Hawthorne, examining the pedestal, fascinated by the inclusion. Zara, in trance, spirits blinded me. Slade, near the door, stepped out for air, storm hit. Jenkins the guard, patrolling the perimeter, heard nothing over the thunder. Hastings, with you, Poirot, saw a shadow flee. Poirot nodded. Précisément. A shadow in heeled shoes. Whispers erupted anew. Eleanor eyed Penelope. You hate the pendant, called it a curse, Penelope shot back. And you, spendthrift, Reggie bankrupt because of your gowns and gambling. Harrington slammed his glass. Quiet! Eleanor's no thief. But Slade smirked. Ladies quarrelling, distracts from the men. Hawthorne, your monograph. Need the pendant for fame? Hawthorne bristled. Science, not greed, Zara moaned. I see a letter, hidden in amber, a love scorned. Poirot's ears pricked. A letter? Explain, madame. Zara hesitated. In séance. Flashes. The Countess wrote to her lover, the Duke, sealed in the amber, a secret compartment. The room fell silent. Harrington frowned. Nonsense! It's solid resin. But Poirot's mind raced. Solid or hollowed? Baltic amber, softenable with heat. A message inside. Blackmail? Inheritance? Slade leaned forward. If so, worth more, or dangerous. Tensions boiled. Accusations flew. Penelope blamed Slade's shady deals. Slade countered with Harrington's war profiteering. Eleanor accused Zara of fakery to cover hypnosis theft. Poirot raised a hand. Basta! We search, pairs, never alone. He paired them. Hastings with Slade, Hawthorne with Penelope, Harrington with Eleanor, Zara with Jenkins. Himself? I prowl alone. The little grey cells need solitude. As groups dispersed, upstairs bedrooms, library, vaults, whispers followed like smoke. In the east wing, Hastings and Slade rummaged a guest room. Slade rifled drawers. Your boss thinks he's Sherlock, but Poirot's Belgian, eh? Foreigner meddling. Hastings stiffened. Poirot's the best. Solved the Orient Express case. Slade chuckled. Cases? This is real. I owe money. Bad men. The pendant could square it. Confession? Hastings pressed. You stole it. Slade's eyes hardened. Maybe, or maybe I know who did. Downstairs in the library, Hawthorne and Penelope clashed over books. Your uncle's a fool, Hawthorne grumbled, pulling tomes on gemology. The pendant's flawed. Crack hides a void. I x-rayed similar pieces. Penelope gasped. You touched it? Examined, yes. Yesterday. Alone. In the master suite, Harrington comforted Eleanor. Darling, trust no one. That niece of mine. Jealous spinster. Eleanor whispered. Reggie, the debts. You promised the pendant stays ours. A crash. Window bursting open. Wind howled. A figure in black leapt in. Masked. Harrington grappled. Thief! Eleanor screamed. Struggle. Knife flashed. Harrington grunted, slashed arm. Guards rushed. The intruder fled through the window, rope dangling. Poirot arrived, pistol drawn. Mon Dieu! The assassin returns! Blood on the carpet. Harrington's, but on the windowsill. A scrap of paper, amber-coloured. Poirot snatched it. A note. The spider weaves its web. Pay or perish. Blackmail! Zara, trailing Jenkins, fainted dramatically. The Countess! As the manor searched frantically, cellars, attics, greenhouses, alliances formed in shadows. In the billiard room, Slade cornered Zara. Your trances! Cover for signals! That guard! Your lover! Zara hissed. Fool! I see truths. The letter exposes a bastard child. Harrington's heir, not legitimate. Gossip spread like wildfire. Poirot gathered scraps, a torn glove in the garden, healed print, a wire cutter in the fuse box, blood traces leading to the servants' stairs. Mid-search, a scream from the vault. The group converged. The safe, open, inside, not empty, but a fake pendant. Glass amber, painted spider. The switch! Poirot exclaimed. Done before unveiling, the real one, hidden elsewhere. But whose blood on the fake? A smear. Fresh. Jenkins paled. The dead guard, framed? Whispers turned to shouts. Alliances cracked. Penelope accused Eleanor. Your actress friends. Thieves. Eleanor slapped her. Bastard niece. Harrington roared. Enough. Poirot, solve this. Poirot smiled grimly. Patience. Shadows whisper, but light reveals. As dawn crept grey through the storm, a new discovery. In the chapel, a hidden confessional. Inside, the real pendant? No. A body. Madame Zara? No. Dr. Hawthorne stabbed. Notebook clutched. Pages torn. The letter inside. My child inherits all. Signed Irina. Scandal. The Harrington line. Illegitimate. Whispers ceased. Terror gripped. The thief struck again, and Poirot knew old grudges fueled this fire. In the fading night, secrets bubbled like poison. A lost love, a hidden heir, jealousy eternal. The web tightened, and the spider lurked. Chapter 5. The Midnight Theft. The clock in the great hall chimed midnight with a sombre toll that reverberated through Amberley Manor like the knell of doom. Outside, the storm had intensified into a howling fury, wind screaming around the eaves as if the vengeful Countess herself clawed at the walls. Rain hammered the slate roof in relentless tattoo, turning the gravel paths to rivers and isolating the manor further in its soggy Hampshire hollow. Inside, the air was thick with champagne fumes, cigar smoke, and the undercurrent of barely suppressed panic. Hercule Poirot stood poised near the pedestal, his green eyes reflecting the pendant's golden glow, like a cat eyeing a particularly elusive mouse. The amber pendant hung suspended in its glass dome, the fossilized spider at its core seeming to pulse with malevolent life under the spotlights. Guests clustered around it in a semicircle of forced admiration. Their faces a gallery of greed, fear, and feigned delight. Lord Reginald Harrington, flushed with brandy and bonhomie, raised his glass once more. To the amber pendant, may it bring fortune, not folly. Glasses clinked. Lady Eleanor, radiant in her gold lame, leaned on his arm. But Poirot noted the white-knuckled grip on her champagne flute. Reggie, darling, let's lock it away. The storm, it's ominous. Nonsense, my love. One more toast, then bed. Poirot, old chap, what say you, curse or treasure? Poirot twirled his moustache. Milord, it is both. A treasure that curses the unworthy. But Hercule Poirot, he is worthy of unravelling its secrets. Laughter rippled, but it was brittle. Captain Hastings, standing beside Poirot, whispered, I say, old boy, this lot's jumpier than a cat on hot bricks. That Slade fellow hasn't taken his eyes off the bling. Indeed, Victor Slade lounged against a pillar, his slick hair gleaming. diamond pinky ring flashing as he swirled his drink. His gaze was predatory, calculating carats and black market bids. Miss Penelope Harrington hovered nearby, her sharp features twisted in disapproval, muttering to Dr. Hawthorne about familial sacrilege. Madame Zara, turban askew and bangles jingling, swayed dramatically. The spirits warn, midnight is the hour of betrayal. Hawthorne scoffed, adjusting his spectacles. Balderdash! It's resin, not a portal to the underworld. The photographer from the Tatler snapped another flashbulb. One more, your lordship, with the detective, front page stuff. Poirot obliged with a bow, but his mind catalogued the guards' positions, Jenkins by the door, the slain one, Poirot mentally dubbed him Thompson, at the pedestal. The French windows latched but rattling in the gale, the fuse box hidden behind a tapestry. As the clock's hand ticked to 12, Harrington clapped. Right, a final viewing then. Darkness swallowed the hall. Lights extinguished as if by a giant's breath. Screams erupted. Glass shattered with a crystalline crash. A guttural choke, then silence amid the thunder. Lights! Lights! Harrington bellowed. Hastings fumbled for matches. Poirot, where are you? Here, mon ami. Poirot's voice cut through. Stay calm. Emergency lamps flickered on. Battery backups, dim but revealing horror. The glass dome lay in shards, the pedestal empty. Thompson slumped beside it, throat a crimson grin, blood pooling black in the low light. The pendant! Eleanor wailed. Gone! Chaos exploded. Guests surged forward, then recoiled. Penelope fainted into Hawthorne's arms. Zara chanted hysterically. Slade backed toward the windows, face ashen. Poirot sprang to the body, fingers probing the wound. Dead instantly, artery severed, the thief, bold, swift. Jenkins, revolver drawn, roared, Everyone back, doors locked. But the French windows banged open, wind howling in, rain spraying. A rope dangled outside, swaying wildly. Escape! Hastings yelled, dashing forward. Poirot restrained him. No, trap, perhaps. Hastings, guard the room. Lord Harrington knelt by Thompson, face crumpling. My God, he had a family, Pinkerton man, trusted. Poirot examined the scene with meticulous care. Shards of glass, cut outward from inside. No footprints in the blood thief avoided it. A wire on the floor tripped the lights. Fuse box tampered. Sabotage, Poirot murmured. Planned. The blackout. 10 seconds. Enough for a phantom. He sniffed the air. Chloroform. Faint. On the guard's handkerchief. Drugged first, then slashed. Eleanor sobbed. The curse! It demands blood. Penelope, revived, spat. Curse? Murder! Uncle, your greed killed him. Harrington rose, fists clenched. Watch your tongue, niece. This was theft. Professional. Slade interjected smoothly. Professional? Inside job. Who knew the alarms? Hawthorne nodded. The wiring. Victorian. Easy to rig. Zara pointed wildly. I saw in vision. A masked figure. Woman's form. Accusations flew like daggers. Eleanor eyed Penelope. You loathe the pendant. Destroyed it. Penelope retorted. And you, gold digger, need cash for your lovers. Slade smirked at Harrington. Or you, insurance scam? Jenkins herded them. Line up, searches, Poirot intervened. No, not yet. Reconstruct. At midnight. Chime. Positions? He quizzed rapidly. Harrington. Dais. Arm around Eleanor. Eleanor, clinging to Reggie, felt a breeze. Windows? Hastings. Beside you, Poirot. Saw flash. Movement left. Penelope. By tapestry. Praying. Hawthorne. Pedestal side. Sketching the spider. Zara. Trance. Centre floor. Slade. Doorway. Cigarette itch. Jenkins. Patrolling hall perimeter. Thompson. Dead. No alibi. Poirot paced. Inconsistencies. Slade. You itched outside. Slade shrugged. Storm door. Cracked it. Draft. Poirot noted. And Zara, trance? Convenient blindness. Zara bristled. Spirits veiled my eyes. A search commenced. Footmen with lanterns scoured. In the garden, rope tied to a gargoyle, footprints washed away by rain. But inside, a glove in the vestibule, monogrammed V.S. Slade. Slade paled. Planted! Mine went missing yesterday. Poirot pocketed it. Curious. And this? He held a bloodied shard. Amber fleck. No, resin. Fake. The fake pendant from the vault? No. This was a drop. Melted. Upstairs, in guest rooms, chaos. Eleanor's jewellery box rifled. Diamonds gone. My pearls! Penelope's room. Desk forced. Documents scattered. Will naming her heir. Hawthorne's notebook missing pages on amber secrets. Zara's tarot cards slashed. A spider drawn in blood. Slade's suitcase open, false bottom, smuggling compartments. Black marketer, Harrington accused. Slade protested. Tools of trade, antiquities. Poirot's eyes gleamed. Trade or theft preparation? In the library, a breakthrough, hidden panel behind a bookcase. Inside, a safe, cracked open. Empty, but scorch marks. Acid. Backup hiding? Hastings wondered. Poirot shook his head. Decoy. The real theft, during blackout. A scream from the kitchen. Servants found Wilkins the chauffeur, bound, gagged, head bashed. Accomplice? Jenkins growled. Wilkins groaned awake. Masked intruder, knocked me cold. Heard whispers. The letter inside, must have it. The show letter. Zara's vision. Poirot assembled them in the drawing room, fire roaring against the chill. The theft orchestrated, blackout rigged, wire from fuse to pedestal trip. Guard drugged via drink, champagne spiked, slashed to silence. Pendant swapped? No. Taken, rope escape, but accomplice inside cut rope. Evidence gone. He eyed each. Eleanor, draft felt. You opened windows. Never. Penelope, near tapestry, hiding wire. Lies. Hawthorne, sketching, or cutting glass with diamond ring. Preposterous. Zara, trance, signalling with bangles. Blasphemy. Slade, glove, compartments, framed. Harrington, insurance motive. My own guard dead. Poirot smiled. All motives, greed, hate, fear. But the letter key, hidden in amber, perhaps a compartment, proving bastardy, disinheritance. Gasps. Penelope paled. Father's secret. Harrington slumped. Rumours. Great-grandfather's affair. As dawn hinted grey, another horror, the chapel bell tolled unbidden. Rushing there. Altar desecrated. On it, the pendant, but blood-smeared, spider cracked. Fake or booby-trapped? Poirot approached cautiously. A wire. Trip. He snipped it. Safe. But, inside the crack, a rolled paper, yellowed the letter, my beloved Friedrich, our child inherits the amber's truth. Curse the Harrington thieves. Irina. Scandal. Proof of illegitimacy. Who placed it? Hastings breathed. Poirot. The thief taunting or returning for ransom. A note pinned. £50,000 by noon, or the manor burns. Blackmail escalated to arson. Panic reigned. Phones dead. Roads flooded. Trapped. Poirot locked the pendant in his pocket. Now, the hunt intensifies. Midnight theft was but prelude. As servants barricaded windows, whispers echoed, alliances forming, betrayals brewing. In the shadows, the true thief watched, spider-like. The web spun tighter, and Poirot's cells whirred. One lie would unravel it all. But first, another scream. Body in the cellar, Meadows the butler, poisoned. The curse claims servants now, Zara wailed. Poirot knelt, foam at lips, cyanide, in pocket, a confession scrap. I helped for love. Love? Whose? The midnight theft had ignited inferno. And Amberley burned from within. Chapter 6. Interrogating the suspects. Dawn crept over Amberley Manor like a reluctant witness, pale light filtering through the storm's remnants to reveal a landscape battered and sodden. Puddles mirrored the grey sky, peacocks huddled miserably under dripping yews, and the manor's ivy-cloaked walls seemed to sag under the weight of the night's horrors. Inside, the great hall, once a stage for opulent unveiling, now resembled a battlefield. Bloodstains darkened the rug where Thompson the guard had fallen. Shattered glass glittered like frost, and the empty pedestal stood as a mocking monument to vanished glory. Hercule Poirot surveyed the scene with his customary precision, his small feet planted firmly amid the debris. He had not slept. The little grey cells demanded vigilance. Captain Hastings, bleary-eyed and rumpled, handed him a cup of tisane brewed over a spirit lamp, the electricity still capricious. "Steady on, Poirot. You've been pacing like a caged tiger. Interrogations at dawn? Bit medieval, eh?" Poirot sipped delicately, the herbal steam curling around his impeccable moustache. "Medieval? No, Hastings. Justice is timeless. The thief, perhaps the murderer, hides among us. Isolation breeds confession. We begin now in the library, one by one. You, mon ami, take notes." The library was a sanctum of oak-panelled gloom, shelves groaning under leather-bound tomes on heraldry, botany, and forbidden occult arts. A fire crackled in the grate, casting flickering shadows that danced like guilty consciences. Poirot arranged 2 armchairs facing each other across a mahogany table, a single lamp illuminating the space like a confessional. Hastings sat in the corner, notebook poised. Lord Reginald Harrington entered first, summoned by a footman. His florid face was haggard, eyes bloodshot from brandy and grief. He collapsed into the chair, mopping his brow with a monogrammed handkerchief. "Poirot, this is hell. My guard dead, Pendant gone, ruin." Poirot leaned forward, eyes piercing. "My lord, compose yourself. Tell me of the debts. You unveiled the pendant to attract investors, oui? Slade promised connections." Harrington nodded miserably. "War profits evaporated, bad investments, Eleanor's tastes, 50,000 owed to sharks. The pendant, tore it, exhibitions, legitimate." And the letter inside, proving illegitimacy? Harrington paled. "Family rumour. Great-grandfather seduced the Countess, or vice versa. If true, Penelope contests the will, but I swear, Poirot, I'd never kill for it." "Alibi?" Poirot pressed. "Dais with Eleanor. Blackout. Shoved. Felt a woman's perfume. Jasmine?" Poirot noted it. "Dismissed. Send Lady Eleanor." Eleanor swept in like a tempest in silk, her auburn hair dishevelled, eyes swollen from tears. Yet Poirot detected artifice. The rouge subtly reapplied. "Monsieur, this ordeal. Reggie wounded, now this inquisition. Madame, sit. Your marriage. Happy." She hesitated, lighting a cigarette with a gold lighter. "Blissful. Reggie adores me. But the pendant, he obsessed. I begged him to sell. To fund your gambling. Monte Carlo losses, 20,000. Her hand trembled. "How? Yes, debts. But theft. I'd insure it openly." "And the draft during blackout? You opened windows?" "Absurd. I clung to Reggie." Poirot's gaze softened. "Your perfume, Jasmine. Harrington smelled it on the shove." Eleanor's eyes flashed. "Coincidence. Penelope wears it too. Stolen from my boudoir." "Intriguing. Your pearls, stolen last night. Distraction." She stubbed the cigarette. "Perhaps. Or planted blame." Poirot dismissed her. "Next, Miss Penelope." The niece entered stiffly, tweed suit rumpled, face a mask of Puritan fury. "This farce! Uncle's trollop accuses me. Mademoiselle, your hatred for the pendant, why? It's poison. Grandmother burned wearing it, father bankrupt, and the letter proves I'm true heir. Harrington line, bastards." Poirot raised an eyebrow. "Violent words. You were by the tapestry, rigged the wire. Never, praying for deliverance. But your shoes, healed, muddied, garden rope? Penelope flushed. Walked the terrace, insomnia. Saw a figure, Slade. Alibi weak, and your will documents rifled. Hiding the letter. She stood. I'm victim. The curse targets Harrington's. Poirot waved her out. Dr. Hawthorne. The historian bustled in, beard unkempt, spectacles askew. Poirot! This barbarism interrupts science. The pendant, my monograph. Your examination yesterday alone. You discovered the compartment. Hawthorne nodded eagerly. Yes. Hairline crack. Heated amber reveals a void. The letter historical gold. Proves Prussian forgery. Motive for theft? Fame. Museums pay fortunes, but murder. Absurd. Blackout. You near pedestal. Diamond pinky. Cut glass. Hawthorne sputtered. Borrowed from Slade. Returned. Poirot noted. Your notebook. Torn pages. Destroying evidence? Thief took them. Dismissed, Madame Zara. The medium glided in. Turban listing. Coal smudged into raccoon rings. Detective, spirits torment me. Visions of blood. Your trances, signals, bangles flashing Morse. Zara gasped. Sacrilege! I saw the thief, masked feminine curves. And the guard, your lover Thompson. Her eyes widened. Lies, but whispers. He courted a maid. Hypnosis? Drugged champagne? Never. Spirits guided the planchette. Thief among us. Poirot leaned in. The letter, you foresaw it. Blackmail tool? Zara whispered. Countess's child, my ancestor, gypsy blood. Romantic, but your tarot, slashed with spider. Warning? She fled weeping. Mr. Slade. The art dealer sauntered in, slick as ever, but sweat beaded his brow. Poirot, old bean, let's deal. Find the pendant, I buy low. Your debts, White's Club, 50 grand. Pendant fences to Paris. Slade smirked. Business, but kill, messy. Your glove, at the scene, compartment suitcase, smuggling. Planted, Penelope hates outsiders. Blackout, you at door. Cut rope outside. Slade lit a cigarette. Stepped out. Saw Zara in garden. Tryst. Alibi crumbles. And the fake pendant, your resin drop. Amateur hour. Poirot's eyes gleamed. All lie, but one truth emerges. Hastings burst in mid-interrogation. Poirot! Jenkins found this, in the chapel confessional. A bloodied stiletto, engraved V.S. Slade paled. Not mine! Stolen! Guards seized him. Murder weapon! Chaos as Slade protested. Frame up! The letter exposes all. Poirot calmed them. Patience. Interrogations reveal motives. Greed. Slade, Eleanor. Legacy, Penelope, Harrington. Fame, Hawthorne. Mysticism, Zara. Alibis sieve-like. He lined clues. Jasmine perfume on shove. Eleanor or Penelope. Diamond cutter. Hawthorne, Slade. Wire expertise. Jenkins. Chloroform. Zara's potions rope. Wilkins chauffeuring escape. A scream echoed. Rushing to the vault, safe blasted open with gunpowder. Inside, the real pendant. No, another fake, spider-painted. But attached, a photo. Harrington in compromising pose with a woman, not Eleanor. Blackmail escalates. Who? Hastings gasped. Poirot examined. The Countess's descendant, hidden heir. Lunch, tents in dining room. Soup spilled, accusations hurled. Eleanor to Penelope. Bastard claimant! Penelope. Whore! Slade guarded. Partners, split the loot. Hawthorne. Return for science. Zara. Seance. Summon truth. Post-meal. Poirot reconvened in library. Connections. Slade and Zara. Lovers. Signals via bangles. Zara denied. Slade winked. Eleanor and Hawthorne. Affair. Photo suggests. Gasps. Hawthorne blushed. Penelope and Jenkins, bribed guard. Jenkins swore loyalty. Harrington, self-theft for insurance. Never. Poirot paced, overlooked the maid, gossiped of footsteps. Summoned young Elsie, trembling. Sir, saw Miss Penelope in vault, midnight, with a man. Wilkins, chauffeur dragged in. Lies, I drove investors. but search his quarters. Rope coils, wire cutters, amber resin. Accomplice, Harrington roared. Wilkins confessed partially. Paid to sabotage lights, but no murder. Who paid? Silence. Poirot pressed. The letter, key. Proves Irina's child married into staff. Meadows the butler. Poisoned to silence. Flashback clue. Meadows' confession scrap. Helped for love. Love of granddaughter, Elsie. Web untangled. Family secrets. Hired thieves. But twist. Pendant in Poirot's pocket. Vibrated. No. A note slipped in. You have the fake. Real one with me. Meet greenhouse. Alone. Or next blood is yours. Trap. Poirot smiled. The thief reveals. Hastings, don't go. Must with backup. Greenhouse. Humid jungle of orchids, vines. Shadow waited. Show yourself. Figure emerged. Penelope. No. Lady Eleanor. Masked. You. Poirot accused. But shot rang out. Eleanor fell. Wounded. Ambush. From shadows. Slade free. No. Jenkins betrayer. Pinkerton? Fake. Poirot deduced. Jenkins laughed. Hired by Slade. Real Pinkerton dead weeks ago. Chase ensued through glass panes. Shards raining. Hastings tackled. Guards swarmed. Jenkins captured. For the letter. Blackmails my boss. Pendant bonus. But pendant? On Jenkins, real one. Letter intact. Interrogations cracked the facade. Motives intertwined. Slade mastermind. Zara signaller. Eleanor distractor. Penelope jealous aide. Harrington unwitting pawn. Yet one lie lingered. As sun set, Poirot gathered all. The thief is... Cliffhanger. A final scream. Body in the well. Hawthorne, drowned, clutching a map to buried treasure. The amber's history deepened. Betrayal layered. Poirot's cells whirred. Resolution neared, but death stalked. Chapter 7. Clues from the past. The library at Amberley Manor had transformed into Hercule Poirot's command centre, its towering shelves now a fortress of forgotten truths. Morning light slanted through the mullioned windows, dust motes swirling like ghosts in the beams. The storm had passed, leaving a damp chill that seeped into the bones. But the manor remained sealed, roads impassable, telephones silent, the outside world a distant memory. Poirot sat at the central table, surrounded by artifacts of the crime. The bloodied stiletto, the fake pendant with its cracked spider, the yellowed letter from Countess Irina, and a scattering of photographs, maps, and torn notebook pages salvaged from Dr. Hawthorne's drowned corpse. Captain Hastings paced anxiously, his golfer's tan faded under the strain. Poirot, old chap, this web's thicker than London fog. Hawthorne drowned in the well, clutching a map to buried treasure. And that letter proving the Harringtons are frauds. It's like peeling an onion, layers of rot. Poirot adjusted his pince-nez, his green eyes alight with the fire of discovery. Précisément, Hastings, but onions make one weep for a reason. The past, it bleeds into the present. This pendant is no mere jewel. It is a vessel of vengeance. Come, we delve into history. The little grey cells demand a voyage backward. He rang a small bell, summoning the remnants of the household. Lord Harrington entered first, bandaged arm in a sling, face gaunt with sleepless dread. Lady Eleanor followed, veiled in black lace, her beauty marred by bruised eyes. Miss Penelope Harrington stalked in like a righteous avenger, flanked by the captured Jenkins, now bound and guarded, and a sullen Victor Slade. Madame Zara, stripped of her turban and mystique, shuffled in under escort, her gypsy finery replaced by a plain robe. Assemblez-vous, Poirot commanded, gesturing to chairs arranged in a semicircle. We speak of origins, the amber pendant. Its story begins not in 1840, but centuries earlier, in the frozen halls of Prussia. As they settled uneasily, Poirot unrolled a parchment map from Hawthorne's effects, yellowed, annotated in frantic script. Dr. Hawthorne, poor soul, was more than a pompous academic. He unearthed truths that killed him. Observe, the Baltic coast, Königsberg mines, 1782. Duke Friedrich von Amber, a dissolute noble, commissions the pendant from amber harvested during a lunar eclipse. Superstition claims it traps souls. Harrington snorted weakly. Fairy tales, Poirot. Family legend says Sir Edmund bought it fair. No, my lord. Bought? Stolen. Poirot dramatic pause. Flash back, if you will. The room dimmed in their minds as Poirot narrated, his voice weaving the tapestry of the past. East Prussia, 1785. Duke Friedrich, a gambler drowning in debts, courts Countess Irina Petrova, a Russian beauty betrothed to Tsar Paul's cousin. He gifts her the pendant, encasing a spider, symbol of fate's intricate web. "Wear this, my love," he whispers at a masked ball, "and our destinies entwine." Irina, enchanted, dons it. But betrayal lurks. The fiancé discovers letters, passionate, incriminating, a duel. Swords clash under snow-laden pines. Friedrich wounds the rival, but flees, pendant clutched as trophy. Irina, heartbroken, conceals a pregnancy. She seals a letter in the amber, heated softly, a compartment hollowed. "Our child inherits truth," it reads. "Curse the thieves who part us." She flees to England, posing as a governess, dies in childbirth. The babe, adopted by Harrington ancestors, illegitimate root of the family tree. Poirot snapped back. "The letter we found, Irina's own, proving Penelope, through distant gypsy lines, is true heir. Zara, your visions, ancestral memory." Zara nodded tearfully. Grandmother told tales, Baltic blood. Eleanor gasped. "Then Reggie's title, fraud." Harrington slumped. Father whispered it, buried the shame. But Poirot held up Hawthorne's map. More. Hawthorne dived into archives, literally. The well, old smuggler's tunnel from Harrington days. He found this. Coordinates to a crypt beneath the chapel. Buried there. The original pendant? No, Irina's diary. Excitement rippled. "To the chapel," Hastings urged. The party trooped to the stone chapel, a Norman relic adjoined to the manor. Rainwater dripped from gargoyles as they entered, the air heavy with incense and mildew. The altar, still desecrated from the night's mockery, hid a flagstone marked with a spider etching. Poirot knelt, prying with the stiletto. The stone lifted, revealing stairs spiraling down into darkness. Lanterns flickered to life. "Careful," Poirot warned. "Traps for grave robbers." They descended into a crypt, cobwebbed sarcophagi of Harrington knights, shields rusted, effigies staring eternally. At the centre, a pedestal mirroring the great halls draped in rotting velvet. Harrington trembled. Great-grandfather's tomb. Poirot unveiled. A iron box locked. Jenkins, prodded by guards, smirked. "Key? On Thompson's chain. Took it after the slash." The key fit. Inside, not gold, but a leather-bound diary, pages brittle. Poirot read aloud. Irina's words, 1790. Escaped the Duke's madness. Sold the pendant to Sir Edmund for passage. He promised secrecy, but lusted for its power. Visions plague wearers. The spider whispers betrayals. My child, hidden as servant's babe, will reclaim. Flashbacks flooded. Sir Edmund, a rogue adventurer, smuggles the pendant from Riga. Wears it in a duel. Wins, but lover drowns mysteriously. Curse begins. Ships sink. Fortunes flee. Penelope snatched the diary. My great-great-grandmother, I'm the heir. Slade laughed bitterly. Worthless without the jewel, but the letter, blackmail gold. Poirot's eyes narrowed. Blackmail, oui. Hawthorne discovered this crypt weeks ago, invited to appraise. He photographed the diary, threatened exposure unless paid. But someone silenced him. Drowned in the well, map planted as lure. Who? Eleanor whispered. Clues converge. The jasmine perfume. Penelope stole it to frame you. The diamond. Cutter. Hawthorne lent to Slade for resin experiments. Chloroform. Zara's seance kit. Zara wailed, "Spirits compelled!" In the crypt's gloom, tensions ignited. Slade lunged at Jenkins. "Traitor! You drowned him for your cut!" Jenkins dodged, grabbing a sarcophagus lid, swung as weapon. Chaos, guards tackled. Harrington confessed. "I knew of the crypt, sealed it, but debts, sold maps to Hawthorne." Lady Eleanor fainted, revealing a hidden locket. Photo of her and Hawthorne. "Affair," Penelope accused. "You killed him," jealous Reggie discovered. Harrington roared denial. "She loved me." Poirot halted the melee. "Stop! The past reveals motives." Irina's child branched. One line noble, Penelope. Another servile, Elsie the maid. Meadows poisoned to hide. Elsie, summoned, confessed tearfully. Grandfather Meadows helped Irina's kin. Paid by Slade. Rig the theft. Slade spat. "Business. Pendant offence. Diary to burn." But Poirot held the real pendant, retrieved from Jenkins. Heated gently. Compartment opens. Inside, not just the letter but a miniature portrait, Irina and Babe. And a poison vial. Curse in literal form. Cyanide for visions. "Zara?" Zara broke. "Duke's descendant, revenge on Harrington's." Twist. Zara the mastermind, gypsy heir. Slade her lover. Jenkins hired muscle. Eleanor distraction via affair. Penelope unwitting pawn with grudge. Yet a deeper clue. In the diary's margin, the spider spins twice. False pendant hides true curse. Poirot gasped. The cracked fake. Another compartment. Smashed open. A gem map to Baltic mines. Hidden fortune in amber reserves. Harrington claim fraudulent. "Billions today," Hastings exclaimed. "Greed's root. Theft to claim mines." As guards bound the conspirators, a rumble. Crypt collapsing. Booby-trapped. "Run!" Poirot yelled. They fled upstairs, stones crashing. Chapel sealed forever. In the manor, Poirot pieced the timeline. 1785 betrayal, 1840 theft, 1928 vengeance. Zara orchestrated signals, drugs, slash. Slade executed theft, Jenkins cleanup. Hawthorne drowned for knowing too much. Pushed during research. Meadows poisoned for loyalty waiver. Penelope wept. "My heritage, stolen twice." Harrington offered, "Share the mines," but Poirot, "Justice first." Pendant returns to museum. Fortune split legally. As police finally arrived, roads cleared, arrests began. Yet, in the diary's final page, the spider awaits rebirth, one wearer left. Poirot pocketed it. The past's clues solved the crime, but hinted at future doom. Hastings shivered. "Curse real?" Poirot twirled his moustache. "Non, human greed, the true venom." But as they departed the crypt's rubble, a real spider descended on silken thread, landing on the pendant. Coincidence? Or history's echo? The clues from the past had illuminated the darkness, but shadows lingered. Chapter 8. The False Trail. Sunlight pierced the library windows of Amberley Manor for the first time in days, casting long shadows across the Persian rugs and illuminating the dust that still hung in the air like a veil of unresolved secrets. The police had departed at dawn, carting away the bound conspirators, Madame Zara, Victor Slade, the false Jenkins, in a Black Maria that rumbled down the newly cleared drive like a hearse for the manor's shattered illusions. Lord Harrington had collapsed into a chair, a broken man, while Lady Eleanor wept softly in the corner, her gold lame gown exchanged for mourning black. Miss Penelope Harrington stood by the fireplace, clutching Irina's diary, as if it were a talisman, her sharp features softened by vindication. Hercule Poirot, however, was far from satisfied. He paced the room with his characteristic precision, his patent leather shoes tapping a rhythmic tattoo on the parquet floor. Captain Hastings lounged nearby, munching a restorative scone from the sideboard. "I say, Poirot, jolly good show. Zara the mastermind, Slade the muscle, Jenkins the inside man. Case closed, eh? Pendant back in the safe, curse debunked as greed. Time for a spot of golf." Poirot halted abruptly, twirling his moustache with vigour. "None, Hastings. Closed? It is open like a yawning grave. The little grey cells, they revolt. Too neat, this resolution. Zara confesses to vengeance, Slade to profit, Jenkins to betrayal. But overlooked details, they scream falsehood." Hastings choked on his scorn. "Falsehood? But the evidence, the diary, the letter, the poison vial." Poirot's eyes gleamed. "Précisément. A trail too obvious, mon ami. Come, we follow the false path laid for us." He summoned the remaining household. Harrington, Eleanor, Penelope, the trembling maid Elsie, and the chauffeur Wilkins, who had been cleared of major complicity, but eyed warily. Poirot arranged them in the library, the artifacts of the crime spread before him like a macabre tea service. "Observe," Poirot began, holding aloft the cracked fake pendant. "This decoy, resin, painted spider, found in the chapel with the taunting note, but examine closely." He produced a magnifying glass, peering intently. "The crack, not from smashing. Precision cut with a jeweller's saw. And inside, not empty, but a hollow for this." With a flourish, he extracted a tiny rolled parchment, no larger than a cigarette paper. Unfurled, it revealed a map, crude, inked in fresh sepia, the manor grounds, an X marking the old ice house. "A treasure map," Eleanor gasped. "Non, madame, a diversion, planted to send us chasing shadows while the true thief escapes with the real pendant." Harrington leaned forward. "But Zara had it. Jenkins confessed." Poirot chuckled. "Confessions under duress. Unreliable. Zara, with her gypsy blood, spins tales like her tarot. Slade, the dealer, forges documents. Jenkins, the Pinkerton, his credentials. Forgeries, checked by telegram this morning." Hastings gaped. "You wired the Yard?" "Oui. Jenkins is an actor, hired from Drury Lane. The real Pinkerton, found, bound in a London cellar yesterday, drugged, alive." Penelope clutched the diary. "Then my heritage, fake?" Poirot nodded gravely. "The diary, brilliant forgery. Ink tested, modern, aniline dye, not 18th century Galatanic. The letter, typed on a Remington, aged with tea stains, Hawthorne, poor drowned fool, suspected. His notebook pages, torn and hidden in the well. Diary suspect, amber genuine, but provenance fabricated." He was silenced before exposing. The room erupted in murmurs. Wilkins paled. "I drove the investors, real ones, but Slade, he whispered of a bigger score." Poirot seized the thread. "The false trail begins at the unveiling, the blackout, not rigged by wire, but by accomplice in the fuse box, Meadows the butler before his poisoning. Cyanide? Self-administered, trace in his tea, a martyr to sell the curse." Elsie sobbed. "Grandfather, he said protect the family secret." "Secret?" Poirot pressed. Harrington sighed. "The mines, Baltic Amber Reserves. Family claim valid, but contested by Prussian heirs. The pendant proves ownership, hidden clause in Irina's true will." Poirot whirled. "And the map leads us astray, to the ice house." The group surged outdoors, the autumn air crisp, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle bones. The ice house, a domed brick relic from Victorian days, loomed at the garden's edge, overgrown with ivy. Poirot approached cautiously, pistol drawn from his pocket. "Trap," Hastings warned. Inside, dank, frigid sawdust floors. At the centre, a pit once for ice blocks. Roped off? No. Open, yawning. Poirot shone a lantern. Below, a body. Dr. Hawthorne? No, fresh. The real Jenkins, throat slashed anew. Mon Dieu! Eleanor screamed, but Poirot knelt, examining. Not Jenkins, a dummy, wax mannequin from Zara's seance props. Dressed in Pinkerton garb, blood, animal, from the kitchen, a note pinned, fools chase ghosts. The spider flees south, south, to the coast, Penelope cried. Poirot's mind raced. The false trail, crypt collapse, staged with gunpowder from Wilkins' shed, diary forgery by Slade, expert in antiquities, Zara's visions, hypnosis via post-hypnotic suggestion, planted in champagne. Hastings scratched his head. But why the elaborate hoax? To frame the heirs. Zara poses as descendant, make-up accent, her turban hid a wig, Slade's debts, paid actor. The theft, real pendant switched early during tea, hidden in... He dashed back to the manor, the others trailing. To the great hall pedestal. Poirot tapped the base, hollow. Secret compartment, Harrington design, the unveiled pendant, fake from the start. Real one smuggled out by Wilkins bolted. Chase ensued through corridors, footmen tackling him in the conservatory. Confession spilled. Harrington paid me. Insurance fraud. Pendant duplicated months ago. Real one in Swiss vault. Murders to scare investors into loans. Harrington roared denial. Lies. Wilkins blackmailing me with Eleanor's affair. Eleanor slapped him. You knew? With Hawthorne. For the map. Twists layered. Harrington staged theft for insurance. Eleanor and Hawthorne plotted to steal real pendant for mines. Penelope, innocent, manipulated via forged diary. Zara and Slade, hired by a shadowy Prussian syndicate to reclaim amber rights. But the drowned Hawthorne? Hastings asked. Poirot, pushed by Eleanor, jealous rage, well map, his genuine find, leading to buried Prussian deed. Search the icehouse pit, a sealed box. Inside, the true arena will, naming no heirs. Curse invented to deter thieves. Poirot assembled clues. Jasmine on dummy, Eleanor's perfume, planted. Stiletto, Wilkins, engraved falsely. Poison, staged, meadows alive, hidden in attic. Summoned the butler, frail but feigning. Master ordered, protect the vault. The vault, blasted, staged with blanks, real pendant. In Poirot's tisane tin, switched by him during chaos. Overlooked no longer, Poirot triumphed, false trail led here, to truth. Arrests, Harrington for fraud, Eleanor for murder, Wilkins accessory, Penelope cleared but disinherited. As police returned, Poirot reflected. The spider's web, false strands to catch flies, but Hercule Poirot sees the pattern. Hastings beamed. Brilliant, but the mines? State property, war reparations. Manor emptied, echoes fading. Yet, in the library, a real spider spun a web over the fake pendant. The false trail ended, but the library confrontation loomed, truths sharper than any blade. Chapter 9. Confrontation in the library of Amberley Manor, once a haven of scholarly repose, had become a coliseum of reckoning. Afternoon light filtered through the tall sash windows, gilding the spines of ancient tomes and casting elongated shadows that clawed across the turkey rugs like the fingers of accusing ghosts. The air was thick with the scent of aged leather beeswax polish and the faint acrid tang of fear sweat. Hercule Poirot stood at the head of the long mahogany table, his diminutive figure commanding the room as surely as a general on the battlefield. His green eyes, sharp as emeralds, surveyed the assembled suspects with the precision of a watchmaker inspecting gears. Captain Hastings flanked him, notebook in hand, his honest face flushed with anticipation. "By Jove, Poirot, this is it, the grand unmasking, like the denouement in one of those detective yarns." Poirot raised a manicured hand for silence. "Patience, mon ami. The little grey cells have laboured, and now they deliver. Messieurs, mesdames, seat yourselves. The confrontation begins." The chairs scraped against the floor as the remnants of the house party complied. Lord Reginald Harrington slumped into the wingback at the table's end, his bandaged arm cradled in a sling, his once boisterous demeanour reduced to a hollow shell. Beside him, Lady Eleanor perched rigidly, her emerald silk gown rumpled, diamonds absent from her throat. Confiscated as potential evidence, Miss Penelope Harrington sat opposite, her tweed suit buttoned to the neck, eyes blazing with the fire of righteous indignation. The maid Elsie hovered in the corner twisting her apron, while Wilkins the chauffeur stood sullenly by the door, flanked by 2 burly constables hastily summoned from the village now that the floods had receded. Poirot began, his voice measured and melodic, laced with the faint Belgian accent that lent it authority. For 3 days, Amberley Manor has been a cauldron of chaos. Theft, murder, forgery, betrayal. The amber pendant, vanished, returned, falsified. Bodies in wells, crypts collapsing, confessions crumbling like meringue. But Hercule Poirot sees order in the madness. We have chased false trails, Zara's gypsy curse, Slade's black market, Jenkins' betrayal, all smokescreens. The true thief, the murderer, sits among us still, gasps rippled. Harrington bolted upright. Poirot! Zara and her accomplices are in jail. Confessed. Confessed. We to distractions. But the pendant, the real one, with its hidden compartment and Irina's authentic letter, was never in their grasp. I, Hercule Poirot, switched it during the blackout, concealing it in my tisane tin, safe, untouched. Eleanor leaned forward, voice trembling. Then who? The Prussian syndicate. Hawthorne's drowning? Non, madame. Hawthorne drowned because he discovered too much. Not about Baltic mines, but about you. Poirot's gaze pinned her like a butterfly to cork. Your affair with him was no passionate fling. It was conspiracy. You, Lady Eleanor, former actress from the music halls, married Harrington for title and fortune. But debts mounted. Your gambling at Monte Carlo. Your gowns from Paris. Hawthorne, the historian, was your lover and forger. He crafted the fake diary, the typed letter, to discredit Penelope and force Harrington to sell the pendant. Penelope shot to her feet. Lies! The diary proves my bloodline. Poirot smiled thinly. Your bloodline, mademoiselle, fabricated. You, desperate spinster, unearthed family rumours and fed them to Hawthorne via anonymous letters. You hated Eleanor, the gold digger, and sought to ruin her. But you were pawn, not queen. Harrington's face purpled. Eleanor, my wife, murderess? Eleanor laughed hysterically. Reggie, darling, he's mad. I loved you. Loved? Poirot echoed. You loved the lifestyle. When Harrington refused to sell the pendant, you plotted theft for insurance, £50,000 to flee with Hawthorne. Wilkins, your secret paramour from actress days, rigged the lights, cut the rope, the slash on the guard. Your stiletto, engraved falsely to frame Slade. Wilkins lunged, but constables restrained him. She promised me half. Harrington's war profiteering, blood money. Poirot continued inexorably. The blackout, Wilkins in the fuse box, signalled by Eleanor's jasmine-scented handkerchief, waved subtly. Guard Thompson, drugged by chloroform in his flask, laced during dinner by Elsie, bribed with promises of marriage to Wilkins's nephew. Elsie wailed. She said it'd be harmless. A prank. Prank? Poirot thundered. Murder. Thompson woke groggily, slashed to silence. Pendant swapped with fake. But Hawthorne grew greedy, demanded more, threatening exposure with his genuine well map to buried deeds. You drowned him, Eleanor, luring him to the well under pretence of rendezvous. Pushed, held under until bubbles ceased. Eleanor clawed at the table. Prove it. Proof? Poirot produced a sodden notebook from his pocket. Hawthorns fished from the well. Waterlogged but legible. E-Plan's insurance scam. Meet well. Midnight betrayal. Your lipstick on the margin. Darling, trust me. And fibres from your gold gown in his fist he clutched as he died. Harrington rose, roaring. You bitch! I trusted. Sit, my lord, Poirot commanded. You are not innocent. Your debts exaggerated to lure investors. You suspected Eleanor's affair, hired the real Pinkerton to watch. But when theft occurred, you saw opportunity. Claim insurance, blame curse. You poisoned Meadows, your loyal butler, to silence his knowledge of the vault's false bottom, where you hid the real pendant briefly. Harrington collapsed. I panicked. The war, shell shock, needed funds. Penelope sneered. Uncle, fraud. The title mine by right. Right, Poirot scoffed. The true Arena letter, authenticated by experts this morning via telegram, names no heirs. The pendant cursed? Superstition you amplified, mademoiselle, with your library ghost prank. Mirror rigged with phosphorescent paint. Peacock feather dropped. To scare guests, drive Harrington to despair. Penelope paled. I wanted justice. Justice, Eleanor's voice cracked. You jealous hag, spreading rumours of my lovers. You poisoned the champagne hoping I'd drink. Lies unravelled like pulled threads. Wilkins confessed rigging the crypt collapse. Gunpowder from the estate's fireworks. Elsie admitted planting the glove, the note. Harrington revealed bribing Zara, real medium but broke, to stage séances as distraction. Poirot wove the tapestry, the midnight theft, Eleanor's plan executed by Wilkins, blackout, 10 seconds, swap, fake for real. Slash, silence witness, escape, rope to garden, pendant passed to Elsie, hidden in flower bin. But I suspected, switched during chaos. He opened the tisane tin, revealing the glowing amber. Safe, the spider, innocent fossil, curse, human malice. Tensions peaked. Eleanor sprang, grabbing the stiletto from the evidence table, lunging at Poirot. You'll never... Hastings tackled her. Constables swarmed. She fought wildly, nails raking, screaming, Reggie, help! For us! Harrington turned away, sobbing. It's over, Eleanor. All of it. Penelope laughed maniacally. The manor, mine now. Non, Poirot corrected. Bankrupt. Pendant to museum. Proceeds to Thompson's widow, Meadows's family. Wilkins spat. And us? Jail for life. As cuffs clicked, alliances shattered. Eleanor to Harrington. I never loved you, only the title. Harrington to Penelope. Niece, bastard rumour, I spread to disinherit you. Penelope to Elsie. Traitorous chit, your grandfather died for nothing. Elsie wept. He loved the family. Poirot stood serene amid the storm. See, the web, torn, unexpected. Eleanor, the actress, masterminded for escape to Riviera with lover. Wilkins, jealous, slashed deeper than planned. Hawthorne, collateral. Zara, Slade, Jenkins, scapegoats, paid to confess and rot. The library doors burst open. Inspector Japp from Scotland Yard, tipped by Poirot's wire. Poirot! Telegram said roundup. Blimey, what a mess. Arrests swift. Eleanor for murder. Harrington fraud. Penelope conspiracy. Wilkins accessory. Elsie obstruction. As they were led away, Eleanor hissed at Poirot. The curse! You'll wear it next. Poirot twirled his moustache. Madame, Hercule Poirot fears no insect. Order restored. Hastings exhaled. Brilliant, but the mines? Fiction. Hawthorne's red herring. Real value. The pendant's history. Priceless. The library fell silent, fire crackling. Outside, peacocks screeched triumphantly. But in the pendant's amber heart, the spider gleamed, eternal, watchful. The confrontation exposed souls. Yet one secret lingered. A final note in the compartment, unread, for the denouement. Chapter 10. The brilliant denouement. The library of Amberley Manor, bathed in the golden hues of a setting sun, had never felt more like a courtroom than it did now. The long shadows from the oak shelves stretched across the floor like bars of a cage, trapping the last remnants of the house party in a web of their own making. Hercule Poirot stood at the head of the table, his compact figure radiating an aura of unassailable triumph. His moustache, waxed to perfection, gleamed under the chandelier's light, and his green eyes sparkled with the satisfaction of a puzzle masterfully solved. Captain Hastings, ever the loyal chronicler, stood at his side, notebook clutched like a Bible. "Poirot, old man, this is your moment. The suspects are quaking. Lay it on 'em." Poirot raised a hand, his voice resonant and theatrical. "Mes amis, the hour of truth arrives. For days we have danced in the shadows of deception. Thefts, murders, forgeries, curses whispered in the night. The amber pendant, stolen, falsified, bloodied, has been the bait in a trap of human frailty. But Hercule Poirot, with his little grey cells, has unravelled the spider's web. Gather close, the denouement begins. The assembled, Lord Reginald Harrington, pale and defeated, Lady Eleanor, dishevelled and defiant, Miss Penelope Harrington, rigid with barely contained fury, Wilkins the chauffeur, sullen in cuffs, and Elsie the maid, weeping silently, leaned forward as one. Inspector Japp from Scotland Yard lurked by the door, arms crossed, a grin tugging at his lips. "Go on, Poirot. I've got the wagons waiting." Poirot began with a flourish, pacing slowly. "Let us reconstruct, step by brilliant step. The invitation, enigmatic, oui? But not from Harrington alone. It was a lure crafted by the true architect of this drama, Lady Eleanor Harrington." Eleanor bolted upright, her emerald eyes flashing. "Lies! Reggie invited you." "Non, madame," Poirot countered smoothly. "Your handwriting on the envelope, disguised, but the flourish on the P betrays the actress. You, once Eleanor Voss of the Gaiety Theatre, married Harrington for his crumbling empire. But the war debts, your extravagances, Monte Carlo roulettes, Paris couturier, devoured the fortune. You needed a spectacle. Unveil the pendant, stage a theft, claim insurance. £50,000 to vanish to the Riviera with your lover." Harrington groaned. "Eleanor, no. Oui, my lord. But greed has accomplices. Enter Dr. Felix Hawthorne, your historian, but truly a forger extraordinaire. He crafted the fake diary, the typed letter alleging bastardy. Why? To sow discord, discredit Penelope, force a quick sale. Wilkins, your faithful chauffeur, secretly Eleanor's paramour from music hall days, rigged the fuses, the rope escape. Wilkins spat. "She promised me a villa in Nice." Poirot nodded. The unveiling, champagne spiked with chloroform. Elsie, bribed with trinkets, laced the guards' flasks. Blackout, 10 seconds of darkness. Wilkins slashes Thompson, too deep in rage, jealous of Eleanor's wandering eye. Pendant swapped with resin fake. Escape via French windows, jewel passed to Elsie, hidden in the flower bin. Elsie sobbed. "She said no one would die." "But death came," Poirot intoned gravely. "Hawthorne grew ambitious, his monograph a cover for blackmail. He discovered the pendant's true secret, not a curse, but a map etched microscopically on the spider's back, coordinates to unclaimed Baltic amber veins worth millions today. He demanded half, luring Eleanor to the well for a midnight tryst. But you pushed him, madame, held him under until the bubbles ceased. His notebook, clutched in death, betrays all. Fibres from your gown in his fist. Eleanor laughed maniacally. "Prove it, little man." "Proof?" Poirot produced the pendant from his pocket, holding it to the light. The spider gleamed, and with a magnifying lens, faint lines appeared. A map. Heated gently, the amber reveals. Hawthorne engraved it during his examination. Your lipstick on his collar, jasmine in the well water. Penelope interjected. "And me? The diary? My heritage?" Poirot turned sympathetically. "Mademoiselle, you are the dupe. Your ghost, in the mirror, phosphor paint from Hawthorne's kit. You spread rumours to undermine Eleanor, but she twisted them. The forged diary, fed to you anonymously, Eleanor's hand again. You contested the will, distracting Harrington." Harrington slumped. "I suspected. The debts. I hired the real Pinkerton, found bound in London, but I played along. Insurance to rebuild." "Rebuild on blood?" Poirot reproached. "Meadows, your butler, poisoned by you with his own heart medicine, overdosed to silence his knowledge of the vault. He discovered your fraud, the pendant duplicated months ago by a Bond Street jeweller. The real one in Switzerland, until Eleanor stole it back," Japp whistled. "Clever Zara Slade Jenkins." "Scapegoats," Poirot exclaimed. "Hired via Slade's underworld contacts. Zara's seances, hypnosis to plant suggestions. Slade's debts, staged. Jenkins the actor, fake Pinkerton. They confessed to minor roles, taking the fall while Eleanor fled with the map. Eleanor lunged, snatching a letter opener, Wilkins's stiletto from evidence. "You'll join Hawthorne!" Chaos. She slashed wildly. Hastings tackled her legs. Japp pinned her arms. The blade clattered away. "Enough, madame!" Poirot dusted his sleeve. "Your final act, curtain!" As constables hauled her up, Eleanor spat. "The curse! The spider sees all!" Poirot held the pendant aloft. "No! The spider is innocent, trapped eons ago. The curse? Greed, jealousy, betrayal, human venom." He turned to the motive's core. The true secret. Irina's letter authentic, hidden in the chain's clasp, not the amber. Opened now. He twisted delicately. A tiny scroll unfurled. "To my child. The pendant grants no visions, only clarity. Flee thieves of the heart. The map leads to freedom. Baltic shores. A new life. No mines," Poirot revealed. "A metaphor. Escape from Prussia. Irina fled an abusive duke, sold the pendant to Sir Edmund for passage. No bastardy, no fortune, just a mother's love." Penelope wept. "My family! Legends!" Harrington bowed his head. "Ruined." Poirot softened. "Order restored. Pendant to the British Museum. Proceeds to victims. Thompson's widow, Meadows' kin, Hawthorne's estate. Manor sold. Debts paid. Penelope, your archaeology passion. A grant from the Crown." Japp cuffed the culprits. "Eleanor, murder, conspiracy. Harrington, fraud. Wilkins, Elsie, accessories." As they were led out, Eleanor screamed. "The amber will claim you, Poirot." He chuckled. "Madam, I prefer chocolate." The library emptied, echoes fading. Hastings clapped Poirot's back. "Brilliant! But the map, real escape." "We. Irina's descendants, scattered, free. Zara, distant kin but twisted by poverty." Sunset painted the room amber. Poirot placed the pendant on the table. The spider gleamed. Eternal witness. "Case closed," Hastings beamed. Poirot twirled his moustache. "Until the next mystery, mon ami." Outside, peacocks strutted, the manor at peace. The amber pendant's secret, love's endurance, shone brightest. In Poirot's pocket, a final note from Irina. "To the one who sees truth, wear me wisely." He smiled. Order, symmetry, restored.